All right, so I'm going to try to make this as interactive as possible. This is really for you guys. Just to share with you kind of why I love visiting colleges is because college is what kind of made me. And it's not kind of specific to like my school. My school was great, but at the same time, it's really specific to anyone in college can kind of learn what I'm saying. And I'm going to kind of share with you a little bit of my journey and kind of which will help you kind of learn what I'm going to talk about. But if you had to take the Cliff Note version of what I'm going to tell you today, if there's anything you could say before you decide to zone out if for whatever reason, it's learn to be a connector and not a networker, okay? So I'll get into that. But keep that in the back of your head during this whole presentation. Connecting versus networking, all right? So this is me, my first journey. I was 22. I thought it was hot stuff. I did the, you guys have a business plan competition, I'm assuming, like your business school must sponsor it. I had something like that, where I had this concept where I had an online magazine idea, and I was like, oh my gosh, I wrote a business plan, I'm going to succeed, and I'm going to get out of college and just go for it, right? That's kind of what shows like Shark Tank and Apprentice and all this stuff tells you, right? Like, just go for your dreams, right? Well, I was lost when I graduated from college, when I did that. I was confused. I was going on these different paths. And, quite simply, it was for two reasons, okay? One reason is because I wasn't doing the business for the right reason. I was doing it to follow what you call a trend. So a trend is like this. Let's say I like social networks, okay? Let's say I want to compete with Facebook, and I'm Indian, okay? So let's say I decide I'm going to create an Indian version of Facebook, okay? I know it sounds funny, but it's been done in the past. And if someone asks me, well, why do you want to do an Indian version of Facebook? Oh, because Facebook's crushing it, and I want to own the Indian market. There's lots of money to be made, right? That sounds like a trend, right? You're just following this wavelength of what's out there. But if you asked me, based on passion, why do you want to do an Indian version of Facebook? Well, I'm Indian. I grew up I had a great upbringing. I go to Indian websites, and I never found a community website that's out there. And, I want to give back to the Indian culture. I want to spread it not only to Indian people, but also to people that are into Indian culture, the food, the music, people that, movies like Slumdog Millionaire definitely elevated some people's interest in at least traveling to India. The good and the bad. And so I really wanted to bring this out. That's based on passion. Now, which business do you think will do better on? The first example or the second example? Yeah, exactly. So I was doing the first example for my first entrepreneur journey, for part of it. And I was ridiculously failing at it. And I'm not ashamed to say that. You have to, sometimes you have to fail and get picked up and kind of learn things. So how did I go from this trend-based mentality to becoming a passion-driven entrepreneur, which I'm going to talk a lot more about during this presentation? I started to connect with people that can guide me. I started to realize, okay, what am I really meant to do as an entrepreneur? What is the difference that I want to make? How can I lend my part into the world? How can I make a difference, right? And I stopped going to like events and trying to get cards and trying to talk to people. Hey, I got a business, you got money, let's talk, let's make some deals happen. All that stuff you see, I swear, TV really makes it look easy. I'm telling you, it's really funny, but like all that stuff, right? And I started to say, you know what? Forget me for a sec. How can I help you? How can I bring value to you? How can I be someone that if I saw you the next week, you can say to me, hey, you know what? You're that guy who helped me out with something. That you're that giver. You're not just taking things. And from that, I started to really learn what it meant to be a connector. And circumvent 3 years into my business, it succeeded. I found, there's a famous business term called pivoting. Any of you guys have read that? Just for the people who don't know, it's like you take, if things aren't going well, instead of dropping the business, you basically take what you have and you find a new business model that could take those assets and do something totally different, okay? So prior to finding my passion with my first business, I pivoted 5 times, okay? I actually tried to be that Indian Facebook, no doubt, okay? I tried to be an Indian YouTube. I tried to get into event production. I tried to get into being an ad agency. God, I even tried to get into fashion. It was really weird. I don't know what I was doing, but I have no fashion background, right? I mean, I just read GQ magazine. That's all I know about fashion. I don't know diddly about fashion. And the 6th time, from building my connections, from connecting with people, from meeting like-minded people, from giving so much that people were like, let me help you and be your mentor, I pivoted my business, and it revolutionized online video. And it led to some things like you mentioned, I got recognized by the White House, I got into public speaking and all that stuff. But this isn't about me bragging. This is just to give you an example of how connecting means so much to me. In fact, the most important trait for an entrepreneur, in my opinion, is learning to be a connector versus a networker. And I'll get into that. So after I learned how to become a connector, I basically, I learned this, coexistence, that basically the world isn't about you trying to beat others like a competitive thing. The world is about you making a difference and learning from other people, the good and the bad, so you can help rise as an entrepreneur. That was kind of the mantra I learned as a connector. And I got into what my current business, which for me is a dream, because through connecting, I was feeling this emptiness. I was like, you know what? How do I create a business that's very meaningful to me, that really gives back to the world, yet can be about making money too, so that it can build and grow and I can have a great lifestyle at the same time. The world, everyone wins basically. And so it was this company called Dreaming Alive, which is an online platform that allows you to create your own dream life using a vision board, and you can share this vision board with others, so you can connect with other people to help attain your own dreams and share your own dreams. So that's a little bit about my background, okay? So I'm now going to talk to you guys about what are the traits of being a connector, because I've talked about this word connecting a lot. The first thing you really got to do is you got to learn to take a step back. You really got to figure out where you want to go with your life. So let's take that step back for me, right? Remember I told you I pivoted 5 times and I went through these ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. Well, I didn't really know what my own kind of purpose was about. So before you want to become a connector, before you want to become someone who wants to be a meaningful entrepreneur, gives back, works with like-minded people to make a difference, you first got to have a purpose. What is your purpose? Okay, so this is not a purpose like a spiritual purpose or religious purpose. I'm not here to preach that. I'm here to say to you, why are you here? Okay, some people, right? They build products because they want to solve a problem, okay? So the 6th thing that I did in my business when I pivoted to the right thing is I realized my purpose is I like promoting people. I'm like that guy who can sell amazing things around me. Like, I love selling how amazing my friends were. I love selling you why you should watch this movie. I love selling why, if you are looking to invest in someone, you should invest in this entrepreneur. I don't do it for a monetary game. I do it because I just love beautiful people and experiences. And so for me, I guess I have this promoter mentality. So I got into promoting sought after independent film content and short films and clips that were for the mobile phone and the web phone. I mean, I didn't know at the time that mobile and tablets and niche YouTube type sites and content were hot. I didn't know that. I just said, you know what? I'm going to help find these artists and I'm going to help put them on these handsets and all these things. And I didn't know it was going to turn into something that could be lucrative. I did it out of my purpose. I just wanted to get into promoting. With Dreaming Alive, my other venture, in many ways, it's a very lucrative business opportunity. I'm taking, user data and we're helping find people their targeted dreams, which is a valuable thing to an advertiser and a sponsor. There's a whole talk of social media that I could have on that. I didn't do it for that reason. I did it because I like speaking. I like helping others achieve their dreams. So I wanted to build a social networking community that will allow others to achieve their dreams. That was my purpose. So find your purpose, because when you connect with people, it's really important for you to have something interesting about yourself. You want to be known as that guy or girl who just lives and breathes and talks that purpose. And that's the first thing you got to kind of figure out. Second is you got to have an intention, okay? So how many people here, honestly, had some type of goal before coming here? Like you thought to yourself, I have a goal. Okay, what's your goal? I'm curious. You mind sharing?
Recruit some hackers.
Okay, cool. Yourself, sir, back there?
Connect with other people, find out what they're doing, find out what I'm doing, and find out if we can make our goals match, our ideas match.
All right. Let's give him a round of applause. That was pretty awesome for the share. So that is called intention. You should have an intention every event, every experience that you have. And I'm talking in everything. I mean, not like literally, hey, I'm going to go to the pizza shop and have this intention of getting a free pizza, but like, you know what I mean? Like serious stuff, right? Things where you know you're going to have a meaningful experience, where you're going to build those connections. They just gave you an example of 2 of them. So you have to have an intention, because if you walk into an event without any notion, without knowing what your own purpose in life is, and again, without knowing what am I really going to do here? Am I going to be one of these lurkers just giving out cards? And I'm going to talk about that later. I have some examples of networking, which I hope you guys don't do after this. If you do, you want to have a very specific plan. And it could start as specific as this gentleman here saying about the hackers, or it could be something more broad as what he said about connecting with like-minded people. Both are good. I'm not here to tell you one intention is better than the other, but you got to have that intention, right? My intention is really simple for this event. I just want more people to learn to become connectors than networkers, because if that happens, the whole world's going to be better, and more great partnerships and business will be better. So that was my intention, just to give you an example. Next is visualize and believe. So this is kind of that thing where you gotta really visualize and believe your end outcome. So you're here at this event, right? You got that purpose, you got that intention. You gotta visualize, what is that feeling I'm gonna get, okay? And I don't know if it's specific to an event like this, because you're just connecting with people, but this is more for those times when, let's say you wanna give those elevator pitches, right? Or you have to give that, you have to recruit someone. You have to persuade them to say, this is why you need to join my company, like why you need to be a hacker for me, those kinds of things. You need to visualize and believe the outcome is going to happen. You have to live the part. You have to believe the part, okay? The number one difference between someone who's successful and not successful is they visualize and believe it, okay? So lately, for me personally, I've become fascinated with Michael Jordan. A few weeks ago, he turned 50. It was a big deal for anyone who's in basketball. It's like, oh my God, like the legend is 50. That's weird, because, I mean, if you grew up watching him, it's like, you didn't see him as a 50-year-old, right? You just saw him as the man who can do anything, and he was young and vibrant. But the thing I did after reading him is, I read books about him after reading that, after he turned 50, I saw an opportunity to learn more about him. And did you guys know that he got rejected from his high school basketball team, not once, but twice? And, a lot of people quit. A lot of people would say, you know what, screw it, basketball's not for me. But you know what he did? He just said, I'm going to keep hustling, I'm going to keep pushing away, because it's my purpose to be an athlete. And he set that intention that he's going to try out and make it the next cut. And he just visualized and believed that he was going to one day be on a college team. That's all he did. Yes, he trained his butt off, but everyone else also trained their butt off. Yes, he did, probably didn't, he was persistent, stubborn, all these other resilient traits of an entrepreneur, which are also valuable traits, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about that aspect that he visualized and believed that he was going to make it. And I bet you that was the most important thing. That's what got him to be in college, and that's what got him to win all those championships in the NBA. That's a great example. So this kind of goes back to the visualizing and believing thing. So I'm a big hip hop person. Hip hop for me was like, I don't know, for me it's like a form of poetry that helps elevate me. Anytime I feel down, I can hear a song that's in rap and I can just feel like I can conquer the world. I really believe that music is such a gift that we give. This kind of goes back to you. You have to believe that you're going to make a difference in the world. You can have you can have the purpose of why you want to be here. You can have the intention of what you're going to create. You can visualize and believe this outcome, but you got to believe what is the end impact. You have to kind of dream it. You got to put it out on paper. And I'm not trying to promote what I do, but that's why I created dreamingalive.com. It allows you to put on a board the different things that you want to do to live out your dream life. As an example, some people like to use, there's some cool apps out there that let you goal list and keep track of things. Some people just like to write in a journal. Like guys like Jay-Z, they write out their thoughts and they express how they're going to be in evolution. Some people perform it. Some people, do it in poetry. It's up. You have to have that mentality, because being an entrepreneur, it's all about believing that you're going to make a difference. Because if you're not going to if you don't believe you're going to be a revolution, then you're going to be, again, that example I gave you where you're just following the trend and you just want to be an entrepreneur because it's hot and it could potentially make you money and you can live this lifestyle that, the world portrays. Or you want to be a rebellious, person who wants to escape the traditional family, lifestyle, jobs, world, all that stuff. Been there, done that. I've seen all that personally and through others. You gotta, more importantly, you want to be an entrepreneur because you have to believe you're going to make a difference. You're going to be a revolution, right? So I'm now going to jump into what I would call examples of being how not to be a networker so that you can learn to be a connector. But before I do that, I just wanted to know, is there any questions I can answer so far? Because I know this is kind of a lot of material. But before I dive into this, because I'm going to kind of jump into that. Anyone have any questions, comments, anything you want to share? Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think a good way of doing that is be interesting. So seriously, like going back to whatever your purpose is, like if your purpose is to be an artist, then know what's up in design. Like know a lot about the latest apps out there. Let's say you're in a technology event. Know about the coolest designs out there. So let's say you meet a technology person who's like saying, hey, I just have this app, but it's the first version of this app, and I'm looking for beta testers. You as that design guy or girl can say, hey, let me look at it. Hey, this is what you might want to do. Here's some design principles. It's like you're giving free advice to someone. That tech person now says, oh my God, that guy is resourceful. I'm going to remember that person, and I'm going to help him out whenever he asks me. That automatically makes you interesting. A more general thing is just read a lot. Know what the current events. Read the world. Read about business. I mean, if you're in college, if it's a collegial event, know what's going on in your college. Know who's winning. Know what's going on in the sports. You just got to have that kind of personality to be interesting, Yes?
Where do most entrepreneurs like to speak? Because you said you like to speak at colleges, but I'm wondering if that's true of all entrepreneurs.
Okay. I can't comment on every entrepreneur, but I could say that entrepreneurs who like to speak, the ones that do well, find a market that they can relate to. So I'm 31, okay? I'm probably not going to speak at like an AARP event on how to be an entrepreneur, right? No offense, I'm not offending it. I'm just not that market. I can't talk to people who are my parents' age on how to be an entrepreneur. It'd be weird for me, right? But someone who's speaking to that market, I don't know if they necessarily want to speak to this market, or this audience base. So I think it's all about that authenticity, connecting with the right audience. That'll help. That's what I've seen the entrepreneurs who speak, at least successfully, continue to just speak about things, I guess. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
I wasn't here in the beginning, but when did you start your first venture?
Yeah, so I started my first venture at 22. And so I got hooked on the entrepreneur bug back then. Yeah. Yeah.
You had mentioned that when you started, you weren't necessarily as good as you are now at connecting.
Yep.
Rather than
Networking, yeah.
Yeah, networking, right? So it's something that you learn. It's a practice.
Yep.
What are the best ways to practice it?
I'm actually going to share some traits, examples. I'm going to share with you some examples that I did and I've seen other networkers done. So hopefully you guys will learn from that. But I guess before I do that, 2 more questions. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd just like to know what are the various resources for financing or funding? Essentially, because I know there's VCs, I know there's angel investors, other groups
Yeah.
that are really receptive to
So I have a really good, detailed answer, but in respect for this subject, can you promise to ask me that right when this ends? Because I want to give you the attention you deserve. Because I have a really good answer. I knew that I had an intention, honestly, that I was going to be asked. I have a good answer on that. Yourself.
I just want to get back to that first question about what students can.
Yeah.
LA is huge.
Yep.
Smeared across the pretty wide landscape, and the tech community, the startup community, is a smaller subset of that. It's still smeared from Venice to Pasadena.
Yep.
It's still huge. UCLA, the campus is relatively condensed, and I think the students can really offer a lot in terms of just being able to network and know each other that are interested in the technology space, interested in startups, et cetera, and acting as conduits to people outside campus. That's a really easy value add right there for students.
Yeah, there you go. I agree. It's a great, could have said it better. Yeah.
As somebody from the outside, I'd like to ask something back. The one thing I could do is be in college right now. If you guys want to know how you connect, people from the outside, like me and these other guys, him, we're here because we want to connect with you guys. So people are looking to connect with you guys. If you put yourself out there, you go to events and make yourself available, you'll connect. People will connect with you. All you have to do is make yourself available.
Cool. All right, let's jump into some traits on how to not be a networker, okay? So brace yourselves, and I hope you guys write this down. If not, I'll send you a copy of this presentation, because these things, if nothing else, learn from this, because you don't want to do this. Okay, the bragger. Okay, this is the guy or girl. When you walk in, they just ooze cockiness, okay? I mean, they dress down to the T. They walk around literally carrying their nice car. You know, they're the ones who sit at a table and they'll leave their phone and their thing like that. Hey, nice to meet you. You know what I'm talking about. The guy and girl who have, you know, inside you know that you don't want to do that. You never want to make someone feel like you're better than them, okay? You never want to do that. Even if you are, quote unquote, more successful than the next person you're talking to, you never want to do that. Because you don't know that other person you're talking to could help you be more successful, but more importantly, you just want to be authentic. You want to be interesting. Remember going back to that answer I gave in the beginning. You want to come off as interesting. You don't want to come off like you're better than that person, because if you do that, you're not going to build an authentic connection. You're going to build someone who's going to have a bad impression of you. And trust me, one of the number one things as an entrepreneur, your reputation means more than anything. It's okay to fail. It's okay to not get it right. It's okay to, you know, have been in a business or not be as experienced as someone. It's okay. You're a student of life. We all are. I'm still learning. We all are learning. There's people here older than me that are probably still learning. You know what I mean? Just, it's okay. But it's not okay to be not authentic and to be cocky and to make someone else not feel right, okay? Just don't ever walk down like that. It's just never good. The card hustler. So I mentioned this before. So God, I used to go to events. I remember this. I could go to an event and I could size up the whole event. I used to be able to say, you know what? There's 500 people in this room. I can go and maneuver 10 to 30 people every 20 minutes. And I would just get their card, okay? Now, I could go to any event. I could seriously go to any event. I can match up who are the 1 or 2, maybe 3 to 4 to 5 people I should connect with. That's all I really need to talk to. And the rest, I don't really have to talk to them. Not because I don't want to, it's because I don't think I'm going to give them value and they're going to give me value. I just don't need to do that. That's a trait that I learned when I became a connector. And that allowed me to develop meaningful relationships. But it's not about quantity, it's about quality, okay? Because those deeper relationships can help you get deeper things. Because if you just get cards and you do all these coffees and, hey, let's go meet and let's talk business, that's great, it's cool, it makes you feel good. But what value are you really getting? Yeah?
Don't you believe that if you give yourself more opportunities to get other people know you, give yourself more opportunities to run into
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I still believe that one quality connection can give you 10x the value of 10 quantity people who you just give cards to. And you can only find that by kind of being authentic, by kind of learning about that person, giving to them. And I'm going to get into that in a sec, but I still believe that 1/5, as an example, is always better for connecting. But, you know, and there's some businesses, look, if you're in like a like a lead gen business or some types of businesses, but that's not really the entrepreneurial type business. Those are just more like just quantity businesses. Yeah, you can probably, your notion's probably right there. Okay, the unfocused person, okay? So you don't want to ever, remember I went back to you guys about knowing your purpose or knowing kind of why you're here and what your intention is before going to an event. You want to be very focused on why you're there. It's okay to first say, hey, I'm just here to learn. That's still focused. But if you say, hey, I'm an MBA student, I'm a part-time entrepreneur, and I work for a corporation, and I want to bring value to you with these 3 things, you're going to sound scattered. You know, have a focus, because the unfocused people, I've noticed, those are the networkers. They're just lurking. They're just getting cards to get cards. But the connector, someone who kind of knows why they're here, what value they can give, they're the ones that build meaningful connections. So it's really important that you have a focus as to why you want to connect with someone, not just to network, because then you don't really get results, in my opinion. Okay, the conference hound. Hope that's not a student here. I got this from a Google image site, so if it is, I apologize. You want to have a balance, okay? Look, I've been telling you that connecting is the most important thing as an entrepreneur. It's what saved me. It's what makes meaningful businesses happen. But you need to actually spend time on the business. You know, it's funny. You meet some people. You'll see them at every event. Okay, this gentleman brought up the LA tech community, right, or the LA circle of events. Okay, there's so many events going on right now. There's probably if I check my Facebook events, there's probably 15 events. If I really wanted to, I can go to. That doesn't even include just doing a type up on meetup.com. Like, there's so many events going on, right? And there are people that just go to events day by day by day by day. And in some ways they're actually cool cats. They have a purpose, they love what they do, they're great givers, they're always giving, and they have this intention that I'm gonna go meet this guy or girl for money or for contacts or whatever, but they don't actually work on the business. You need to have that equilibrium, that you gotta connect, but you need to have something that powers it too. That's the only point I'm trying to give back here. All right, the pessimist, all right? So just so you guys can't see in the back, there's a glass here. This person's glass is half empty. Typical response is, hey, half empty. This person says, half full, but it's probably polluted. I think you can tell who is a pessimist, right? You don't want to give negative energy at an event, okay? You don't want to shut someone's idea down. You don't want to, talk smack about the event. You want to be grateful for every person, every situation there. Look, I'm not telling you to be fake. Look, let's go back to that app example. Remember like the guy who said, hey, I have my first version of my app. Can you look at it? And the design guy is looking at it. You don't need to say, hey, this is a piece of what? Why are you doing this? Okay, you don't want to do that. If you really don't like the app, you should say, hey, you know what? Maybe there's some things you can learn from it. Maybe you can pivot this into another market, or here's some design advice. I'm here to help if you want. But personally, this is not what I would use. There's a big difference. You pretty much said to them, I don't like your product, but here's some ideas. Good luck to you, but I don't think it'll gel versus I think this is a waste of time. You don't want to ever do that, because if your reputation, remember, going to reputation as a connector, you want to be resourceful. You want to be abundant. You want to think of someone, you want to be that person who's can always give, you can be that go-to for resources. You can give constructive feedback, good or bad. They want to know that they can count on you, okay? And finally, just to repeat this, connecting versus networking, okay? Just to sum it up, a connector is someone who builds relationships and who lives a purpose and how they communicate with people. And a networker is just out there just to build contacts, but doesn't do anything meaningful with those contacts, or do they provide any meaning back to those contacts. There's a big difference in that. And I still believe that quality always beats quantity in your connections. And yeah, that's it. But thank you guys. Appreciate it. So I want to jump to this guy's question first, then I want to get everyone else's. So could you ask the question again, just so we're on the same page?
Well, I was just kind of shooting off a little about
Okay.
essentially, and business plans. I have a lot of ideas and a lot of ways I could
Right.
go, a lot of ways to pivot. You know, I'm in the green market, so
Nice.
my intention is to help people go green easily.
Yeah.
I also want to open it up, you know, to a wider group of people who think maybe that's not for them. You know,
Okay.
because it seems to be either you're green or you're not. And there's some dichotomy there. So, but I was interested anyway in this one particular instance about funding, and you know, I always know about VCs tend to want to take the business over per se and have their way with
Yeah.
it more or less. Is that true? And also with angel investors, you know, what are they looking for? And are those the two types of investors, or are there more that I'm missing as well, possibly?
I think, well, to answer your last question, yeah, I think there's lots of investment options that you might not have mentioned, but what I would say to you, just being a connector, as you assuming you're a connector, because I liked how you said it, is you can really use connecting to help figure out what is the right financing for you. Let me explain. So a networker would say something like, they would go to these events and they'd be like, hey, look, I'm blah, 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 I'm looking for money. Okay, you're like, okay, great, so is everyone else, you know? Every entrepreneur is looking for money. They're always looking for money. Even people who have raised money are always raising the next round. It's just the way life works with being an entrepreneur. But if you go out there saying, look, like you said in the beginning, I'm in the green business, I got a purposeful driven business, I'm just here to meet like-minded people that are interested in learning what I do, because we can make happiness together with our business. You know, something kind of, maybe not as cheesy, but something, you get the idea, something that's very like authentic. You might see that big-time investor who you actually had the intention of one day investing in you. He or she might be like, wow, this person's not in my face, they're not asking me for anything, they just want to build a friendship. And the best investors, whether it's angel VCs or banks, which I was going to mention as another one, they always invest in people they want to be friends with because they trust you. Okay? There's a lot of great people out there. There's a lot of great ideas out there, but it's about, are you authentic? Are you ethical? Are you trustworthy? And all those things come from, hey, I consider that person a friend. So that whole barrier of comfortability of, can I be comfortable with them or not, goes away a little bit. So I would come with that approach. A general topic on investing is you want to get money when you don't need money. Now, let me explain that. Now, that's easy to say, well, the chicken before the egg, right? Well, you need to like crush some metric that makes you investor worthy. So if you go and let's say you're friends with that investor and you have coffee with them and you're kind of like an informal mentorship, right? They could say to you, hey, what are you good at? And you can say, well, actually, are you a website or is it a product?
Well, it's both. It's service and product.
Okay.
LED distributor.
Okay, LED distributor. So if you said to someone, hey, I'm an LED distributor, I got 5,000 customers in, let's say, the live event space, okay? I'm in the independent film market. I got 5,000 independent films that have used this. Now, it's not a lot of money because a lot of them I did free deals. You know, I did favors and this and that, but I have 5,000 customers that are people that live with my product. Now I want to take what I've learned and I want to raise more money to build a larger business so this can scale fast. That is leverage versus, well, I got an idea, I'm unfocused, I got customers here, I got customers there, some are free, some are not. The investor's gonna be like, okay, great, come back to me when you're focused. But you came to them with a very focused leverage saying, look, I know what the heck I'm doing, what's up, you know?
That segues into another question, and I'll
Yeah.
get into the rest of the story.
Good.
So it seems like people aren't that receptive as well. Even if you have a good idea, it's hard to break some barriers.
Yep.
Essentially, and you kind of tend to get lost in the crowd and say, you know, everybody, you know, maybe 50% of people here are also looking for this,
Yeah.
for that same support per se. It's not necessarily about financing. Actually, the model is good. It's just that you know sometimes it seems like you really have to go above and beyond. I don't know what it takes, but it seems that
Well-
breaking into the market seems to be very.
So that original statement I said about getting, raising money when you don't need it, that the best way to do that is by build a connection before you ask them to give you money. So a way you continue that is you meet them at the event. You get their card because you're like, hey, I'd love to share with you more about what I'm doing. You seem like someone who I could learn from. That's authentic. That's not just saying, hey, here's my card, let's go grab coffee, let's do business. That's networking, right? So after you do that, you can send them an email update. a weekly update. I mean, the biggest thing you guys want to do, well, let me ask you something. How many people here are looking to raise money for their business right now? Okay, fantastic. The biggest thing you want to do before getting money is you want to build that relationship with the money person or people or angel groups or whatever, or VCs. The way you do that, emails, as a great example. Give them a company weekly update. I mean, one of the greatest technologies are these services like MailChimp and Constant Contact. It's so cheap to do a crafty little email. Here's some quick updates. We just got this customer. Here's an article in the green space that is doing really well that you might be interested in as a homeowner. It doesn't just show that your business is crushing it. You're showing that the green market's crushing it. Instead of saying the green market's a $10 billion opportunity or whatever, like here's an article from like LA Times on the green market. So that point them some other things. You just want to look like you're resourceful, like you're Mr. or Mrs. Green. You know what I mean? The second thing is do events. Say, hey, I'm going to have like an event like this, right? If you invite them to events. If you don't have the resources or you don't want to have the bandwidth to do an event, invite them to the events. Hey, I thought you should come to this event, kind of learn, meet some cool entrepreneurs. Why don't you come? Put that in your thing. You want to be on their inbox in an authentic way. So when you come to them for money, that comfortability is there. It's all about comfortability because you just said it. There's so many great ideas. There's so many great things, and it's all about comfortability. You're welcome. Yeah.
Do you think there's a startup bubble forming? Just only startups?
No.
No.
I think our country, our innovation, our job growth is built on, innovative ideas and executing those ideas. So if you're telling me that more innovative ideas and execution's happening, then there's a will, there's a way. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a ultra patriotic American, but like at the end of the day, what's great about living in America is that like we dream of things and if we want to, we can get the resources to make those things happen. And so if you're telling me more that's happening, I'm all for it. And it always the best businesses always scale, whether it's through funding or whether it's through just getting customers. They always find a way, and that's kind of the entrepreneur spirit. And that's one of the reasons why America is one of the leaders in entrepreneurship, I feel. And other countries are too, don't get me wrong. So, yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I thought you were asking a question. Oh, cool. I know, where's the Pledge of Allegiance when you need it, right, guys? Jeez. Any other questions? Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. Oh, sorry, can I say one quick thing?
Sure.
By the way, I'm always about giving back, so grab my card at the end. I'll give you a free ebook copy of my book that I launched. And it has some good entrepreneurship traits. So just grab my card and yeah, send me an email. Thanks.